Now let's get a foundation of prayer, because that's what JW Broadcasting is presenting. So when you go to Proverbs chapter 28, Proverbs chapter 28, you get an understanding of prayer. You see, it is a specific thing you got to have when you're dealing with prayer. It says in verse 9 of Proverbs 28, he that turneth away his ear from hearing the law, even his prayer shall be abomination. Now that off the top disqualifies these so-called people that believe that the law is done away with. You see, they tell people that the law is done away with. The law, Christ came and ended the law. So that off the rip, anything that they say and think they're gonna pray about is none and void. And so let's go to Job, and Job is gonna explain why. Because all prayer is not qualified. All prayer is not the same. Job 16:17. It says, not for any injustice in mine hand, also my prayer is pure. So he was letting the Most High know that his prayer was pure, that he hadn't did injustice with his hands. You see, he was keeping God's commandments and doing the will of God. Now, let's take it to Psalms 80 verse 4. Psalms 80 verse 4 says, let's see. It says, O Lord, God of hosts, how long wilt thou be angry against the prayer of thy people? You see, God had turned his face against Israel, and their prayers was not being appreciated. He was even angry at their prayers because they was being disobedient. You see, they was being disobedient, and they could pray till the blood run out like Yahushua, who they ignorantly called Jesus Christ, but that prayer made him angry. So go keep praying and praying and praying ain't gonna mean do nothing for you. You got to deal with what you do in your actions. Now he says in 109 of Psalms, 109 of Psalms, verse 7, he says, when he shall be judged, let him be condemned, and let his prayer become sin. You see, your prayer can become sin. You see, he's not hearing those prayers when you out here doing wickedness and saying that, oh, it's a lawlessness is now condoned by who they ignorantly call Jesus Christ, Yahushua. He now condones living a lawless life because the law is done away with. He came and did away with the law. Those laws and those commandments is not valid. They are not the measurement of righteousness anymore. Righteousness is whatever we want it to be. You see, that's what these Jehovah Witnesses are saying. It's whatever you want it to be now, because we don't deal with the law anymore. Okay? Now when you go to Proverbs 15, verse 8, it says, the sacrifice of the wicked is an abomination to the Lord, but the prayer of the upright is his delight. So he pretty much telling you the prayer of the wicked is an abomination. You see, these people sitting around talking about they praying to the Lord, and it's an abomination to him. He don't want to hear that mess they talking. He didn't even want to hear his own people when they was doing wickedness. What you think these wicked Jehovah wickedness? He gonna give them the same operation. Now Psalms 114, he say, is it 114? Isaiah, Salakia. Isaiah chapter 1. And let's start at 15. Isaiah chapter 1 verse 15. And when ye shall spread forth your hands, and when ye shall spread forth your hands, I will hide my eyes from you. Yeah. When ye make many prayers, I will not hear. Your hands are full of blood. You see, these people telling you that God's laws and commandments are done away with. The 613 laws, you just wipe them off the table. They don't count anymore. And they focusing on telling you to pray, and they ain't telling you to live a righteous life in order for your prayers to be heard. See, now you just playing semantics. Let's talk about prayer and forget about the qualifications of prayer. Forget about who is able to pray. Anybody just can jump up there and run their mouth and go to praying. You see, if your hands are full of blood, you can't sit around and pray. He's not going to pay you any attention. And these sapsuckers came over here and killed all these Native American Indians, and they murdering people with these laws that they telling them that they don't have to follow, because Leviticus 19:17 tell you, if you suffer sin on your brother, you hate him, and hatred is murder. So these individuals are committing murder every time that they back up the law is done away with stuff. Now let's go to John 9:31. It says, now we know that God heareth not sinners. So when you running your mouth and you praying and you sinning, John clearly tells you, now we know that God heareth not sinners, but if any man be a worshiper of God and doeth his will, meaning to obey his laws, he heareth. So hearing, who is he hearing, and why is he hearing them? Because they're praying to him. Why is he not hearing them? Because they're praying to him. And while they're praying, if you sinning, he ain't hearing you. You got to be doing his will for him to hear you. And Jehovah Wicked is not going to present that to you. They're just going to tell you a story about what Jesus was going through, who they ignorantly called Jesus, when his name was Yahweh in the Hebrew. They're going to tell you a story about him, and it's not going to be nothing about what prayer is. They just going to tell you to pray. Look, he prayed, you pray too. He was keeping God's laws. He can sit around and pray. He was doing God's will, preaching in the highways and byways. He can pray. See, if you telling people that they don't gotta keep the law in your congregation, they can't sit around and pray. Their prayer is an abomination to God. It's a sin to God. It makes him angry when he hear you praying to him, knowing that you sitting around just don't even care about his law, telling other people don't care about the law. That goes back to when Yahweh in Matthew 5:19, he said, the least of the commandments. If you break one of the least of the commandments, you're not going to get to the kingdom, man. And you teaching people to break the least of the commandments. That's what Jehovah's Witness is doing. They telling you, forget the commandments. They don't count. Christ came and did away with them. Now let's go to Jeremiah, because it tells you how serious this situation is. It lets you know how serious the situation is. Let's see, Jeremiah chapter 7. Jeremiah chapter 7. 7 and verse 16. It say, therefore pray not thou for this people, neither lift up a cry nor prayer for them, neither make intercession to me, for I will not hear thee. You see, when you in wickedness, the Most High is not trying to hear no prayer concerning you. He don't want nobody to pray for you, and he don't want you to be praying, because it's an abomination. Now you go to Jeremiah, another precept. Jeremiah 11 verse 14. Therefore pray not for this people. He repeated it. Neither lift up a cry or prayer for them, for I will not hear them in the time that they cry unto me for their trouble. You see? And that's what is going on. These Jehovah's Witnesses telling you to stay in wickedness, because Christ came and did away with the laws. Those laws in the Old Testament, that's how they say them. Those laws. When Yahushua came down and said he did not destroy the law in Matthew 5:17, and all the prophets, and then he told you, if somebody come up to you and tell you about the least of the commandments, and you don't have to do the least of the commandments, that they not going to get the kingdom, and that's not something that they should be telling you. But that's what Jehovah's Witness will tell you. And so when you go to Lamentation 3:44, it's going to give you an understanding of every prayer that these Jehovah's Witnesses is committing. Every prayer that they saying up out of their mouth, this is what's going on. Lamentation 3:44. It says, thou hast covered thyself with a cloud, that our prayer should not pass through. Thou hast covered thyself with a cloud, that our prayer should not pass through. No Jehovah's Witness Edomite running their mouth, the wicked, is not getting a prayer to the Most High, because they hate his laws, and they despise his word, like Proverbs 13:13 say, and they're going to be destroyed in the lake of fire or by some other form of destruction. They're not praying to the Most High in righteousness and in truth. In Psalms 119:142, it say, thy law is the truth. You see, thy law is the truth. And anybody telling you that the law is done away with, there is a liar, a bold-faced lie. You see, it's laws on women not dressing like men, but the Jehovah's Witness is not going to tell you that. They're going to say, oh, that law is done away with. Christ came, and it's too hard for you to be a woman to dress like a man. You got to dress like a man in this world. You see, that's what the Jehovah's Witness is going to say. They're going to say, oh, you can't not eat pork. You got to eat pork. It's impossible for you not to eat pork. It's just undoable. It's something you can't do. You got to eat pork. You see, that's what the Jehovah's Witness is going to tell you. So these people are wicked. They are Satan, the devil. They trying to, then he started running his mouth talking about Satan's world. No, the Edomites' world. This world was given to Esau. It was given to the nation of Edom as a blessing from Isaac. And Hebrews confirmed that Esau got a blessing. And the blessing was to rule the world and have dominion over the Israelites, who the world was made for. Have dominion over them and put a yoke of iron upon their neck. So these Jehovah wickedness want to make it a battle between some angel and God. It's no challenge or battle between angel and God. It's a challenge for the Israelites to resist these Edomites and stay away from them and don't believe nothing got to come out of their mouth. That's the whole battle. And in Ezekiel 25:14, it's going to be a battle. And God said He's going to use the Israelites to destroy the Edomites and put His fury and His anger and His vengeance upon the darn Edomites. And it never happened before. So that's what's going to happen in the climax of the Battle of Armageddon. It's going to be not angels fighting each other. It's going to be the Edomites being destroyed by the angels and the Israelites. You see, these individuals is a bunch of deceivers. That's what devil mean. And Satan just mean adversary. So they are the adversary of God. They are the deceivers who trying to deceive the whole world. The red dragon. These Christianity peoples and Jehovah wickedness. But I'm going to leave it there. All praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem and Kakadash. Double honors to the elders pushing the truth. Peace to the elect worldwide. The kingdom is at hand. Shalom.